There's so much work to do down here. Let that light shine. There's so much work to do down here. Let that light shine. There's so much work to do down here. Let that light shine. Let that light shine. Let the light of the lighthouse shine on me. Let the light of the lighthouse shine on me. Let the light of the lighthouse shine on me. Let that light shine. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Father's Day video. It's so good that each of you are able to be here. I understand that there's some of you who've been singing along with me. That brings a smile and a gladness, and I hope that you were able to do that today also. Now, this is Father's Day, and for all of our fathers watching out there, happy Father's Day. May this be one of the best, if not the best, that you have ever had. I ran into a couple of verses this week that speak directly to fathers. One of the verses said, "Do not make your children angry. Do not treat them in such a way that would bring them to wrath." It's an easy thing to do nowadays. It says, "Rather than that, be disciplined with your children and teach them, instruct them in the ways of the Lord." And then there was another verse I found that spoke directly to fathers, and it said, "In everything you do as a parent, do it with great joy." And I wonder if we can do that as fathers today. Now, I would like today to, since it's Father's Day, to zero in, to focus on a father that lived many, many years ago. His name was Simon. And according to the Bible, he had no earthly children, but he had, thanks to Jesus, many, many spiritual children. And he was one of 12 disciples who later became apostles to carry on the work that Jesus had begun here on earth before he was crucified by the Romans. It took Jesus about 18 months to find the 12 that he felt would be ideal for this mission. And after the 12 were gathered or named, appointed, then there was at least 2 years that Jesus had to train these wonderful people. And they weren't so wonderful in the beginning. 4 of them were fishermen. 1 of them was a tax collector. And 1 of them was a terrorist, at least until he met Jesus and had his life changed. Not a single one of them was a religious professional. Jesus did not go to the synagogues. He did not go to the temple for his men, but he picked those who were out in the marketplace, out along the lake, fishing to be his apostles. The ones that he chose actually broke Jewish laws. They worked on the Sabbath. That was none should have ever been able to do that according to Jewish law. They did not know how to fast very well, and there was a hand-washing ritual that many of the religious people had back in that day, and they didn't do that either. We find when reading the Bible that Peter met Jesus at Jesus' baptism. When they had the opportunity to go face to face with each other, Jesus said, "I believe with a smile. Simon, it's time for you to get a new name. The one you have does not fit you. From now on, you shall be known as the Rock, or Peter. And Peter became one of the inner circle along with James and John. They were able to witness certain things that the other apostles were not able to witness. For one thing, the Mount of Transfiguration, where Jesus had Elijah and Moses appear to be with him for a little while. Simon Peter was a businessman. He was quite well-to-do. He was married, and his wife accompanied him on his ministry, we hear over in 1 Corinthians. Peter was energetic, he was enthusiastic, he was bold, he was courageous. All of the ingredients for a leader. Peter became the spokesman for the other 12 and a great speaker, judging from the fact that on the day of Pentecost, 3,000 new Christians were brought into the fold of the kingdom of God as a result of his preaching. He wrote 2 amazing books, 1st and 2nd Peter, which can almost make your skin crawl as you read those wonderful words. There's a story about the Apostle Peter I'd like to share with you right now to illustrate how his life ended. The story goes, according to tradition, that the Apostle Peter had just about had all that he could take of persecution and being slapped around and hated and ridiculed, and decided to leave Rome. And on his way out of the city, there was a vision that he had, and he met the personage of Jesus. And Peter said, "Where are you going, Lord?" And Jesus purportedly said, "I'm going to Rome to be crucified again." And bitter tears welled up in Peter's eyes as he realized that he had almost thrown in the towel on this work that God had given him to do. So he turned around, went back to Rome, surrendered to the authorities, and the case was carried out against him. He was crucified at age 65, upside down. And he was buried in a certain location, and a great church was built over his grave. So that today is the story that I've chosen to share with you, to look to that wonderful life of Peter. He did the best that he knew. He stumbled a few times, he doubted, but he always bounced back and found his rightful place beside Jesus and carried on to the very end, where he gave up everything that he had for the kingdom of God. And so I challenge you, I challenge myself at the close of this recording right now to just have the commitment and dedication that we can have in order to further God's wonderful kingdom here on earth. God bless you until we meet again.